Well, are you sick and tired of watching the rigging that's going on in California over the last week and a half? If you're like me, I'm sure you are. Now we're watching that interviews by the local news media is being carried out with homeless people, and they're confessing that they've been paid to vote for Bass, vote for Rahman. None of them were voting for Pratt. Don't you find that kind of interesting? So, as I've been saying, if you follow me on social media, I do believe there is a federal sting operation underway here that is driving towards fixing all of this in time for the midterms. And I've been doing a lot of research on this subject over the last few days. I've got it all queued up here and I want to show it to you because I think it's some things that you're going to want to pay attention to. I think there's a bunch of pieces coming together here that is showing us exactly how the 45-47 operation is going to fix the elections system before the midterms. So follow me. I'm going to go kind of fast. I'm going to show it to you. Okay, now we know the foundation for fixing the election system is President Trump's executive order from March 31st, 2026, ensuring citizenship verification, integrity in federal elections. Now, don't let the title fool you. What this executive order says, and it's been backed up by a federal judge says that this is legal and is going forward. It says that the United States Postal Service will not mail out or accept back in any mail-in ballots that are not confirmed per the voter rolls that are going to be scrubbed by the DHS directly, okay, that are not confirmed U.S. citizens, confirmed living at the address where they're registered still, meaning they could not have moved out of the state, and 3, confirmed that they are actually living people, not deceased. We know that these voter rolls are full of illegals, they are full of people that have moved, they are full of deceased people, okay, people that have died a long time ago. And we know that that's the mechanism they're using to be able to create these extra ballots they need that can come in for a week, okay, after the election closes, where just seemingly the Democrat always seems to catch up. And if there is a Republican that's ahead, they always lose at the last minute with those mail-in ballots. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? So if we can stop that, I think we have a great chance of fixing the election system. If you're like me, look, I don't care what side you're on. Okay, I've never been a registered Republican ever. I was a registered Democrat all the way up till about 10 years ago. Okay, then I went to independent. I have never been a registered Republican. That said, are my views conservative? Yes, I am a conservative centrist. I have some more liberal, ideas on people living their lives. I don't believe the government should get involved in telling adults how to live their lives. That's certainly up to you, okay? And some of the medical stuff, again, I don't really have much of opinion on. I prefer it didn't happen, but again, not my position to take away those rights. That's for something for every state to decide, and for those citizens in that state, if there's valid elections, to decide as well. But other than that, yes, I'm a fiscal conservative, and a lot of my principles on family, faith, country, and God are absolutely conservative based. So I want free and fair elections. I pay a lot of money in taxes, and I'm sure you do too. And for me not to have a vote because it gets nullified by some illegal ballot, okay, is not acceptable. So I am very pleased to report to you that I do believe the 45-47 operation is going to get this fixed in time for midterms. So getting back to the foundation here, which is the executive order, right, on the United States Postal Service and the mail-in ballots. So where does that go? Well, let's take a look. This is also interesting. The Trump administration has sued more than 20 states for refusing to turn over voter files. 20 states. The feds want the voter rolls. Why? Why do they want the voter rolls? Because they're going to use DHS, okay? DHS approves a plan to verify citizenship, monitor mail ballots as Trump push intensifies, okay? So they're going to get the voter rolls from the 20 states that we know are doing funny business with the elections, and they're going to scrub those voter rolls for U.S. citizens, people living at those addresses confirmed, and alive confirmed. Once that happens, I do believe that half of those voters on those rolls are not going to be qualified. Then the next step is, as the mail-in ballots get mailed out, they only can go to the confirmed citizens. Imagine what that alone is going to do. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. You know what the other piece of the puzzle is that nobody is talking about, that I think went over everybody's head? Do you know the machines? Remember the machines from the 2020 election, right? That gave some votes we saw in the middle of the night, and there was a straight line that went straight up. They don't have access to those anymore. Did you know that? I bet you didn't. You want to know why? And this is going to be something that's going to be very curious that might confirm for you that the 45-47 operation is in fact in control. Patriots are in control. How do I know this? Let's take a look at who bought Dominion voting machines, the number one voting machine company in the U.S., used by the vast majority of those 20 states that they just simply want the voter rolls from, that they're suing for the voter rolls. That's a coincidence, isn't it? Who bought that company? Let's take a look. Right here, okay. Dominion voting system sold to a GOP official in surprise deal, October 23rd, 2025. Okay. Didn't they sue Fox News and get like $700 million? Remember that story? Well, isn't that interesting that it got sold to a GOP official? So how does a GOP official get enough money to buy a company that just got $700 million from suing Fox? Doesn't add up, does it? And this GOP official, I've looked into him, he's not a billionaire. He doesn't have a bunch of money. So how did he get access? He got access to it. I'm going to show you. This is something I think a lot of people are missing also. He got access to it because of Trump's executive order 13848 all the way back in September of 2018. Now, a lot of people don't know about this executive order. I do think this sting operation has been going on for a lot longer than most people know. Let's take a look at that executive order, and let me tell you what that says. Okay, so executive order 13848, okay? Executive order when they're imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the United States election. Okay, now that's worth a read, but I'll give you the summary. I'll give you the cliff notes. What it says is, it says that if any foreign government, okay, is involved in our elections, that their assets will be seized. It also goes on to say that any company, person, okay, media outlet, you name it, that either spreads the fake information about an election or is involved in covering up. Think about that. I'll pause for a second. Involved in covering it up gets their assets seized. Okay. Now this executive order is interesting because actor Joe, okay, renewed this executive order several times. Don't you find that curious? So what I do believe, how did the GOP official get a hold of Dominion voting machines? I believe it was seized using Executive Order 13848. That's a private company, so we don't know the details, right? I just know that a GOP election official could not have bought a multi-billion-dollar company that did all these bad things in 2020, okay, that we all saw and have seen so far with the type of money that he would have had. Didn't happen. So I do believe that executive order was used to do that. And I also believe that executive order was used to seize a lot of other people's assets, including some media companies that seem to be playing along with the role that they're being required to play for the 45-47 operation to play out. But I got some more I want to show you here because this is going to get real interesting. Now remember, if you follow me on social media, if you don't and you're finding me here on YouTube, then I suggest you go over to my Instagram. Everything's Corey Means Business. You just search Corey Means Business for everything. Go over to my Instagram, go over to my Facebook, and take a look. I've got some other things laid out, but I want to show you again here because I'm putting it all in one video. But if we go here, take a look at what the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche told Maria Bartiromo just a couple of weeks ago. Listen to this.
Find out that President Trump actually did win certain states in the 2020 election. Now, the president says all the time that the election was rigged. What have you done about that? Do you have any evidence that the election was rigged? What can you tell us?
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not something the DOJ needs to tell you about. There's been evidence about that for many, many years. What I can tell you is that we have multiple investigations going on in Arizona, in Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, and that's exactly what we're looking at. By the way, this is very difficult because they're very good. They're very good at...
Okay, so you saw that. There's multiple investigations in Arizona and in Georgia. Now we know if you do a Google search, the FBI raided the Maricopa County Elections Office, and they also raided the Fulton County Election Office. That's interesting, isn't it? And we know those two states were involved, or those two counties specifically were involved in the mass fraud that went on in the 2020 election. Now that's being revisited. Interesting timing that's being revisited just before the midterms, isn't it? Again, this is all part of this big sting operation. But let's dig deeper. Okay, so if we go over here, we can take a look and see that this is coming from the DOJ, U.S. Department of Justice, United States Attorney's Office, Federal Election Fraud Fact Sheet. And basically what this says is, what is election fraud? What constitutes election fraud? And one of the big things in it right here at the bottom, it says anyone who registers an illegal alien, a non-U.S. citizen to vote, that is a crime. Now we know a lot of these states are just registering, people when they get a driver's license, and they're giving driver's license to illegal aliens as they come over. So you come over as an illegal alien, you go to get your driver's license because you need that for all those juicy benefits you're going to get, right? And what do? They register them to vote. That is a federal election crime. It's not even about the votes. It's not even about ballots. It's not about the election whatsoever. That in of itself is a crime. So all they have to do once they get these voter rolls from these 20 states that they're suing over, and I guarantee you, if anybody else, at least the Supreme Court is going to give it to the federal government, okay, and DHS is going to scrub it, for every single one of those illegal aliens that are on those voter rolls, and we know they're going to be filled, that is a federal crime. So where does this all go? Do a bunch of people get arrested? Are there going to be a bunch of massive arrests and perp walks? I don't know. Hopefully. But what I care about most, and what I hope you care about most, is that we get our election system fixed, because that's what we need. Without a free and fair election system, we have nothing else even matters. No other issue is even close, because if we have good, fair elections, we can fix everything. Any candidate that doesn't do what we want them to do, right? Think about John Thune, right? In the Senate, not passing the SAVE Act, which this would, save a lot on all this stuff, but we could get him out, because we could actually have a vote that matters and counts. So this, to me, is the biggest part of the 45-47 operation. Nothing could be bigger than getting these elections fixed, okay? So you can see how it's coming together. Now, if we take a look over here, we see a California woman has already been charged. This is just a few weeks ago. California woman federally charged with paying individuals, including homeless people on Skid Row, to register to vote. Again, that's also in that DOJ memo talking about what is a federal election crime, even in a state election. Because remember, the supremacy clause of the Constitution says that no state can have a law, a rule, or a process or a procedure of any kind that damages the constitutional rights of a United States citizen. Well, if you're canceling out my vote as a U.S. citizen, okay, over because you've registered an illegal, that's a violation of my constitutional rights. So right there, they have them dead to rights again. And how many times have we seen that? Again, right now, you're seeing all these interviews coming out with homeless people on Skid Row, where again, they are, saying, oh yeah, I got paid $5 to you fill out a ballot. Right, so we know that's going on, and people are getting arrested for it already. So as they move forward with this, you're going to see the voter rolls cleaned up. You're going to see all these illegals, all these bad registrations removed, and then the post office can only send mail-out ballots to those that are confirmed, nobody else. So again, once that happens, I think, and we know the machines are all shoring up because the machines are controlled by a GOP election official. So between the ballots being cleaned up and between the machines no longer being accessible to flip votes as they were doing in 2020, I think we're going to have one heck of a red wave in the midterms. All right, guys, see you on the next one. Let me know what you think below. Please share it. Please like and subscribe also. It means a lot to me. Spreads this out to more people, which is also helpful for them. Because I know in this era of doom and gloom, everyone's doom scrolling. It's nice to get some good news, isn't it? It's good to actually see some good things happening, some things coming together that are actually going to fix our system and restore the republic. And I know that's what the vast majority of us wants. Thanks a bunch. 45-47. It's getting good. See you on the next one.